the 5 years that I have been at Gable Hall, it has been some of the most amazing times. And I've had some very funny lunch times as well. When our dearest Chloe Wren over there did get pooed on by a seagull. And we did all stand there laughing for about 5 minutes till Francesca did volunteer to take her to the toilet. Sorry, Chloe. I also remember when Catherine and Lizzie were caught bunking by Mr. Leslie and the rugby team. And when Joe Moon and Billy Howard shaved off their heads for charity and ended up in the newspaper. In year 7, I remember when Daisy pants Luke and ended up in isolation for at least a week. And our trip to Canterbury, where Connie nearly got abducted and was saved by Mr. Fisher. In year 8, when my pure obsession for Tommy Wiseman was at its peak. And when Christina Day ran into a wall. Our more simpler times where the routine in the morning was to go get a chocolate chip cookie from Co-op from one of the boys for 50p. Even though the whole packet was £1. In year 9, we was classed as the most disruptive year, and I remember our beautiful assembly on it. But how we've changed, and if we didn't change, our year 11 would be very hard, but I think we're all right now. I also remember where our dearest Martin Hancock got his hand stuck in a chair and had to go down to the office to get some butter rubbed on it. Here comes for the slightly cringy and emotional part. In year 10, I made some truly amazing friendships, and I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's helped me through my emotional and loud dramas. But thanks to everyone for making my 5 years at Gable Hall the best 5 years. Thank you.
If I laugh, it's probably because I'm laughing at what Emily's just said, so just ignore me. Yeah, it's weird to think it's our last official day. Before I start talking about memories and stuff, I just want to say thanks to all the teachers for kind of dragging us all through the courses. I know I probably wouldn't have finished some of them if it hadn't been for your help. To all of you, you're all part of my life and memories now, even if I haven't spoken to you for very long. But yeah. Everyone will remember the good old days when we had Lenny and the ice cream van outside, and it was kind of like a massive scramble to get out your lesson and get your 99. But we all kind of have our own memories as well that none of us will be able to share, like Brian Brown.
Oh.
The Christmas pranks that we used to play on Mr. Strickland, I don't know where he is. But yeah, we used to just trash his form room with Christmas decorations. 2K12 was definitely the best one. Yeah, when we were talking about our memories in our class, for the things I could say, they kind of all involved songs. I know Miss Prowse will probably remember our year 8 class when she never heard the end of Black and Yellow, Black and Yellow. And she always finished our bom, bom, ba-da-dum, bom, before we ever got to Stand By Me, the chorus. Our English lessons with Mr. Osborne, Miss Bonnie, really, really tuneful. I Will Survive, Build Me Up Buttercup, and Young Hearts Run Free. So yeah, there will always be memories. All of us have our own subject and teacher memories, like how in year 7 and 8 RE, Miss Whale would just let us have lollipops and watch movies with Jim Carrey in them. That were good. Just to let you know, it was all RE based. Oh no, I probably shouldn't say anything else now. All the kind of they all worked, gone wrong science experiments with that department. They were all great memories. Mr. Thompson stank out his classroom when he just let the snails die and didn't notice. That was horrible. Recently, Miss Webster's English class, and we were reading Inspector Calls Act 3, and she kind of obliviously decided to ask the 5 people who do accents to do it, and we ended up just doing it in loads and loads of. It was really funny, but we were kind of all just crying with laughter, and Mrs. Pascal was running everywhere, and we were all laughing. Every class has their own memorable characters. I know mine will probably be Charlie, dressing up as an angel in Jezza P's Middle Ages history class. his world domination speeches, which kind of had an air of communism to them, but we'll ignore that, and the infamous fight with the dinner lady that won't be named. Yeah, it wasn't like a fight, it was just a... I've lost this now. Tomoa being unable to throw a ball of paper in the bin even though he sat next to it. Missed every time. A good 2 years. Anything that Alex Vickers has ever said, probably. The way that Lizzie sneezes and her argument with Mr. McGorry, that kind of went down. That was a shocker. And at the Devon trip, when we were like, oh, Nandi, you can put the crab down, and he just like lobbed it. So it was great. And the Devon trip was really good, thanks to all the science teachers for doing that with us. There was Baz's Bus of Bants. Yeah, I don't sound good when I say that, I'm sorry. And the Crazy Crane Train with all the singing, all the teacher and student pranks and all the dormitories. That was funny, like when Jake Richards got his mattress taken away and he didn't notice. And Mr. Pickering shouting tune every single one of his own songs on his iPod and turning the music up louder and louder until the whole bus was shaking and it was his own music. The last memory is a bit of more of a confession for Miss Amy.
Oh no!
Half of the French class we were a bit undecided, but yeah. One day we didn't really want to do any work and we didn't have a sub yet, so there was a big pile. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. There was a big pile of practice papers on the desk, and we decided that the best way to hide them was to put them in the ceiling.
Oh my god!
Kind of a joke with our class for a good half a year now. This is like ages ago. They're still there, so none of us have got them down, so they must still be there. Our exam's on Monday, so I guess it doesn't really matter if we tell you now. Yeah, so thanks. Bye.
I'm not very good at doing things like this, so don't expect too much. And I've got the memory of a sieve. So when Mr. Stevens asked me to talk about some of the most memorable things from my time here, I was a little bit stumped, to say the least. And how can you fit 5 years worth of memories into a few minutes talking? But first of all, I'd like to say these have been a very funny 5 years, and I want to say thank you to everyone and some of the teachers for making it that way, and to the remainder of the teachers, thanks for making it hell. Now I'll give a big shout out, like Emily did, to Christina Day, who we all remember ran into a wall and knocked herself out in her pursuit of platform 9 3/4. On that subject, when Jack Flat fainted in assembly, and we had Mr. Pereira running across the theatre doing a Baywatch run, so I'm not embarrassed. And Jack, your dogs are really cute, by the way. Another funny memory was Bram thought he broke his leg at football training. Obviously that caused a massive drama, and ambulance onto the backfield and everything. Bram was down for about an hour. People were saying things like, you can see his bone and he'll never play football again. But the next day, Bram was running in school, running around the playground like a nutter with a little bruise on his leg. And it's safe to say as well, we've surely got the best football team the school's ever seen. Champions in year 7, 9, 11 and most of us in year 10. It's a shame about the manager. And speaking of football, the Barcelona trip brought back so many memories. Everyone on the trip made it a very memorable week, and there's a few things that happened which will stick in the memory for years. First of all, being Toy Wiseman singing Katy Perry on the karaoke. And then we beat a Spanish team who were older than us, and finally, when we was in the city centre, walking down the street, seeing a shop. We thought it was just an adult shop, so we went inside, got a little more than expected, and it was a strip club. Just finally, we've all made some friends for life in our time here, and we've all definitely made some enemies as well. But the past 5 years have been enjoyable, and good luck to everyone in the exams coming up.
I'm sure we'll all agree that the past 5 years have been extremely eventful and looking back quite memorable. We've all encountered those experiences that we would just wish we could forget no matter how hard we try. Yeah, we've all had different memories and all for so many different reasons. The one thing that we all now have in common is the fact that we've matured and developed into commendable young adults. It only feels like yesterday that I was sitting in the theatre the very first morning of transition week, listening to Bobby Hyden's running commentary of the Year 11 girls at the time. To think that was at the start is really quite worrying. The September of 2008 then followed, and so did the abundance of academic lessons. But when we look back, if not initially, we realised that actually we have been educated on a lot more than just classroom subjects. We've learned to make new friends, we've learned more rights and wrongs, and a significant amount of things what we should never do, most of which have come from our peers, the people sitting around us today, our friends. Whether it be Tom Wise's ultimate rugby performance, running backwards towards his own try line with the ball in his hands and an endless line of forwards following him. And yes, he was still smiling. Phil Sannicklang felt he could do one better in Barcelona, jumping across hotel balconies with metal railings and tile floors. It was a thunderstorm. Mr. Wilson looked anything but impressed. And let's not forget the regular appearance of an orange face. I'm certain that the majority of girls sitting here today have learned that the application of fake tan is a very highly skilled task. It's these moments that have allowed us to develop as individuals and learn about ourselves. The embarrassing and irrational scenarios that have occurred over the past few years have been what makes the average school day that little bit less mundane, that bit more unique, and overall the collective school year that bit more memorable. It hasn't just been the students around us that have influenced our learning though, or impacted our education. It's been the teachers too. Putting up with 30 of us at a time hasn't always been easy, and don't we know it. With the likes of James Devonish and Kieran Ashton in class, ensuring that the teachers go home the next day wondering why they bother coming back. It's hard to understand how the members of staff are still sane really. But I'd like to think that over the last 5 years we've helped to educate the teachers too. The maths department must have learnt that past papers are not a good choice of homework. The mark schemes are just too accessible online. The PE department have learnt that when you announce a cross-country lesson in advance, half the class will suddenly gain an injury. Making the lesson quite literally a walk in the park. And finally, Mr. Barrow must have learned that leaving your quilt unattended on the Devon trip isn't a good idea. All in all, I feel it's fair to say that both teachers and staff together have provided vital lessons, both in and outside of the classroom. The 5 years at Gable Hall have proved that whilst academic lessons are essential for us to gain an education, so are the lessons of life that are taught without the use of a pen and a whiteboard. On behalf of the students, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the members of staff for their dedication and hard work over the past 5 years. If it wasn't for your lessons, extra revision sessions, both after school and in the holidays, and your persistence to see us achieve, we quite literally wouldn't be the individuals we are today. You provided us with the fundamentals and so much more to enable us to fulfil our potential. On behalf of the SSLT, I'd like to thank Dr. Asong and the senior members of staff for providing us with these opportunities and roles that are highly respected and rewarding. Working with certain members of staff has been more challenging than others, but that's all part of the fun. I'd like to think that this year the SSLT have worked productively together and produced a student council that's made significant changes. We'd also like to thank both staff and students for taking part in the fundraising activities over the course of this year. I personally would like to thank SSLT members for their enthusiasm and creativity this year. Working with you has been a pleasure, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Finally, I'd like to wish all the students the best of luck next year, wherever you end up. I hope you end up doing what you enjoy and achieve your aspirations. I wish you the best of luck in the upcoming exams too. Thank you for making the last 5 years that much more enjoyable. I hope you all enjoy the yearbook, and really it's been quite an epic year. I apologise for dragging this on, and well done to you all. We've made it.